And now we turn to the next in our series of commentary demonstrations from Mariam.
Commentary screen reader, or the Chinese screen reader, has gotten really popular among blinds and visually impaired recently. And here, on the Blind Android Users podcast, we will have a series of episodes in which we will talk about how to use the screen reader and how to get the best out of it. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of CSR's Basics. So, first thing I want to mention before we actually get right into the demonstration that there have been a lot of questions on my mailing list and a lot of interactions regarding CSR, which I'm really happy about. I know that, is really something that's amazing for Warren. He definitely loves that, and he definitely loves CSR, talkback. So, the things that what we thought about that we were gonna have a Q&A session for CSR, just because we have a lot of questions and sometimes I take a little bit of a time to actually answer them. So this Q&A session time and date would be announced during this week on our mailing list or Telegram group. It's gonna be for everyone who actually has any questions regarding CSR, and anyone who has a lot of experiences, definitely way more than me, about CSR and what it can do, and who actually likes to share his experiences with CSR. So, another thing I'd like to repeat, just because we actually did get a lot of questions about that, was the difference between the standard and the international version of CSR. So the standard version is actually the Chinese one that you probably won't need if you live outside of China. It has like the TTS that's in Chinese. It has the OCR that's in Chinese that you probably won't use. But on the other hand, the other version, which is the international one, doesn't have all this. It only has the stuff that would be useful for you as an international user. So this is the difference. If you can definitely install both and try out what you want. Actually make sure that when you actually go and install the update, it'll ask you if you want to install the international version or the standard version of CSR. Another thing that I'd like to mention, there's been an update that actually got released last week or so. This update was really important to me in particular just because in CSR there's been a little bit of a bug, which was if you are on YouTube and you fast forward 10 seconds or rewind 10 seconds by those two buttons that we have, CSR used to actually take you to the slider right away after you press that button every single time, which was a little bit annoying because if I want to rewind without needing to just scroll and get back to the button again after every single time that I hit this button, it was too annoying since TalkBack doesn't do that. But after the last update that has been released, this thing actually is no longer available. It doesn't actually take you to the slider unless you go to it if you want. So what we are going to talk about today is a couple things. The first thing is we're going to talk about some items in the main menu and what they can do. Also, we're going to talk about the navigation menu and the magic that it does. I know we have mentioned that before. We did, but there have been some additional stuff that we definitely need to talk about. So let's get started with the demonstration. First thing, let's go to the navigation menu and see what it can do. So,
Explore. Reader.
For instance, I'm on my home screen right now. And, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm here on the home screen. and we open the navigation menu. If you want to open the navigation menu, there are a couple things that you can do. First thing, you can open just the main menu and you'll find the navigation menu as the first item. Also, you can just set a custom gesture to open the navigation menu. So I'm gonna open the main menu.
Menu. Menu. Navigation menu. Navigation menu sentence. Navigation menu sentence.
So it tells me that it's actually by sentence, and
Notification.
this something that's kind of it's kind of annoying in the navigation menu. First thing,
Edit all button. Sentence button. Chart button. Paragraph button.
it considers words as sentences, and actually this is a mistake in the translation because sentences are definitely different than words. So here you'd have the characters,
Chart button. Paragraph
paragraphs,
button. Chart. Sentence button.
sentences, which are the words, not the tenses themselves, and be aware of that,
All button.
and all. Also, there are no lines, which is weird. Although we have lines in the rotor as types of navigations, but we don't have it here. I really hope it can be added, just because sometimes I really wanna just copy a single line without copying the whole paragraph or something. It's sometimes really important. So let's see what we can do. We are just because I'm actually focused on the home screen right now. We have
Edit cancel button. App reader.
the reader. So we have a little button here.
Nav and cancel button. Reader. R. Capital R. Lowercase a. Lowercase ad. Lowercase d. Lowercase r. Lowercase r.
So what happened right now? Just once I hit the reader, this word in the navigation menu, it just spelled it right away. The other thing as well is if you actually selected paragraphs, if you have a paragraph, it'll read you it word by word, which is definitely a cool thing. So we want to go to the edit button and see what magic it can do.
Cancel edit button. Split editing sentence. Split editing. 1 6. Reader. Paragraph button. Char button. Send more button. Copy button.
You can either
More. Char button. Paragraph button. Reader.
just hit this.
Reader text. Showing English.
It's gonna open up an edit box in which you can edit this paragraph or word or whatever you actually have selected. And after you can do that, you could just
Cancel button. Import button. Reader text box editing.
either you can import a text from the clipboard and add it to that, or
Cancel. OK button. New
you can
notification.
just
Cancel. OK button.
okay after you edit. And
English. Reader.
what's gonna happen is that you would have
More button. Copy button.
copy, so you can copy what you've edited. We have the more button.
Copy button. OK button unavailable. Copy. More button. Sentence button.
Which doesn't show anything, just because
More. OK but cancel button. Split edit.
I have the free version. I don't have the premium right now, so it doesn't work unless you have the premium version. What it does is you can actually translate, you can append copy. This is what's called in the menu advanced split editing. It's the same thing pretty much.
Cancel button.
So this is the navigation menu. You can definitely edit what you want to copy, or a certain, like for instance, I did have a post on Facebook, and this post was actually a quote, and the author that actually has written this quote said it was written incorrectly. There was a wrong letter. What I needed to do is just open the navigation menu, and I picked this word and I edited it, and I changed and I re-edited the letter that was wrong.
OK, cancel button.
So we'll cancel,
Explore.
and we'll go to the main menu again and see what features we do have here.
Menu.
First thing, we would hit more.
More button. Menu. More button.
More again to expand it to the last thing.
Menu. Menu. No command.
So no command, it's nothing, just because it doesn't do anything. If you just press that, it will take you out of the menu.
Plugins.
Also, I want to point something out. Be aware that every single item in this menu, you could actually add gesture it, or add a custom gesture. And what I want to say by that is there has been a topic on our mailing list that was, discussing custom gestures and if it's actually available for users. It's actually available, but what you need to do is just go to the program settings and pick the action settings and choose that you want to use custom gestures, just because it uses the default gesture mapping. So you won't be able to edit anything because it's the default strict. So just check this checkbox, and afterwards you can definitely assign gestures for applications, for certain functions and stuff like that.
Custom voice commands.
Custom voice commands. Here, you could set up the voice commands to actually do certain stuff in the app itself, like suspend. You can just tell it to suspend voice feedback. Open the navigation menu or whatever.
Tools.
The tools, those are the tools that we actually talked about.
Open an app.
Open an app. If you want to open a certain app and actually choose this app from here without going to the program settings.
Select a navigation type.
Select a navigation type. This is important if you actually messed up the rotor and you want to go to a certain navigation type without using the rotor and the down and up swipes. What you can do is just go here, and it's gonna show you every single navigation type that you have, like words, lines, paragraphs, and stuff like that.
Previous navigation type.
Previous navigation type. It's gonna take you to the previous navigation type.
Previous navigate. Next navigation type.
The same.
Previous navigation unit. Next focus monitoring. Manage the focus monitoring.
So the focus monitoring is how the application is going to actually focus on the things and what's going to say when it actually focuses on it. So how it's going to monitor what happens on your phone.
Pointing mode.
Pointing mode is actually regarding the camera, because Dshow has a camera, but actually it's only used in the premium version. It's not available in the free one.
Previous item. Next item.
Previous item. Next item.
Top.
Top. So top, what it does, I really love this one because it takes you to the top of the screen. For instance, I am browsing my notes that I've taken, or a certain website, and I want to go to the top without scrolling and scrolling and scrolling or something. Especially if it's a long list of stuff. You just would either customize the gesture or just open the menu and actually press on this, and it's gonna take you to the top of the screen. And also there's a bottom. It does the same thing, but it takes to the opposite direction.
Left shortcut. Right shortcut.
Left shortcut and right shortcut. You can assign them to do some stuff.
Scroll up.
Scroll up.
Scroll down.
Scroll down.
Decrease slider.
Decrease slider. If you are on a slider and you haven't actually set like for instance a gesture, you could just do that, decrease and increase. But what I don't like about that is it decreases and increases by 5%. I really would like it that it's much more customizable, so I can just tell it if you want to increase by 5 or 4 or 3 or 2% at a time.
An increase slider. Go to the previous section.
Go to the previous section.
Go to the next. Go to the previous link. Go to the next link.
It's gonna take you to the previous next link.
Go to the previous control.
Previous control.
Go to the next control. Decrease volume. Increase volume.
Again, you can set gestures to every single one of them.
Current time.
Current time. If you hit on that, it's gonna tell you the time. It's kind of useful and not useful at the same time, just because it's like you can set it up from the status bar.
Timer.
The timer.
Current position.
Current position.
Virtual screen. Captcha.
Virtual screen and the capture. So all those stuff are actually we did talk about before, but what I want to talk about, and it's actually a disadvantage, is the screen curtain or the dim screen that's in, as you can say in TalkBack. So the screen curtain here acts differently than TalkBack does. What happens is once you turn the screen curtain on, it definitely definitely decreases the brightness of the screen to 0%. That's what happens. But when you turn it back on again, what happens is it doesn't take it back to what it was before. So you'd need to just get it back to 50 or 60, what you've set it at, which is sometimes pretty annoying, just because if I want to do something pretty quickly and someone is wants to look at the phone, I just can't go to the quick settings and
New
actually
notification from YouTube.
adjust it to what it was before. It's really annoying, but although like CSR actually has permission for to adjust system settings, but it doesn't. It's really annoying thing. I hope it gets fixed soon, because that's what I really love about TalkBack. Still, there are some pros and cons for both of them.
Gestures description.
Gestures description. This is like the help or the tutorial that's in TalkBack. It's pretty much the same thing.
Translate.
Translate. It actually uses Google Translate. So if you want to translate a certain item or something, you could just focus on it and translate. But what I want to say is that you have to select in the settings your input language and the output language, or the primary, secondary, whatever you want to call it, just because you would have to tell CSR what it can do.
Curtain.
And here's the curtain. And by the way,
New notification from YouTube.
sometimes if I restart the phone, so let's say I restarted my phone, and it was on screen curtain, and I opened the phone again. When the phone gets back on, what happens is the curtain is supposed to be turned on, but it tells me that it's still off. As you can see here, my curtain was actually on, and I restarted my phone, and now it tells me that it's not on. It's pretty much the same case. It's like it's not on or off, just because it even doesn't turn the brightness
New
back
notification
as
from
it was. So it's pretty much the same thing.
Clipboard menu.
Clipboard menu. This is one of the amazing things that I love about CSR. So, you could just copy stuff, and they're gonna be actually stored here in the clipboard menu. And even if you restart your phone, you won't lose them. This is what I really love about the clipboard menu, that it's in CSR. But what happens in the copying, the pasting, and this is another disadvantage. So if I have an edit box, and the name of the edit box is like search music, for instance, and I pasted something, sometimes CSR messes it up and pastes the name of the edit box. It's really, really annoying to me sometimes. I feel like, why does do that? So what I can do about it is just type a space bar, and then I could just, paste what I want. It doesn't do anything. So I think the problem with it is just because the edit box is empty. So we will actually talk about the other part of the episode today. It's already small because I don't want to make it that long. I've already been talking for like a lot. So the other thing that I want to mention is how to upload especially like sound themes to the server. So what you have to do is just create an account, register for an account as we did before. And if you are a programmer, you actually would need to be a programmer first, because you have to actually make the sound theme in an SPK extension. And then what you can do is just go to plugins and extensions, and then you would find an upload button there. What you would do is just upload and pick the file with the SPK thing, and it's gonna be uploaded right away to the CSR server. Or what else you can do if you actually are not a programmer is just edit one that already exists. Add your sounds to it, add your audible stuff to it, and then afterwards, what's gonna happen is you will have this SPK file in the CSR folder that we actually mentioned in the previous episode. So what you can do is just go to it and upload this SPK file, which is definitely edited, to the other stuff. So that's how you can upload stuff to the CSR server. It's pretty easy. It's not hard. I really love how it works. Before, it wasn't even available to actually upload your stuff unless you live in China. So that was it for today. I hope you liked the episode. I hope it was useful. And if you have any questions, feel free to actually contact the podcast crew at the contact us at blindunderusers.com or even our mailing list. And our Q&A session about CSR would definitely, as I mentioned before, be announced at the mailing list on our Telegram group in just a couple of days. Thank you for listening. See you next week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do actually have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me or to the whole podcast at contact us at blindunderusers.com. And I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Mariam and Warren. That must have persuaded you to switch, no?
Well, actually, I see a couple problems with that, though, because number one, I was going to be asking Mariam about that, but I was a little bit confused. So she talks about update. When you launch it, it asks you as to which one you want to update to. Now, why would it want me to update to something that is not installed on my system? If I have the standard version or if I have whatever, why would it be asking me which one I want to update to instead of updating what I already have?
Well, what was happening before is in the previous update, it actually did that, and the update earlier than it didn't do that, and the latest update it did do that. So it didn't ask me. It
So it's
already
back and
installed
forth.
the standard. Yeah, it's back and forth. It's
Can't
still
make up his mind.
unstable. Exactly. So I was like, even when in the earlier update. Before the current one, when it happened, I was kind of confused. Like, why? Why it got back? And like, yeah.
I see. Now, another problem, though, that I see is if my clipboard retains something, that's a huge security hole for me. I wouldn't want that.
You mean when you restart and everything's still there?
Yes, that's a big problem.
Well, I guess it's sometimes a problem, but sometimes it's an advantage. Depends on what happens. Just because I lost something before and my phone just restarted because of a problem. And I was actually grateful to find the things still in my clipboard. So it's still an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, because you have sniffers out there, and that's one of the things that Google is trying to block, because you don't want something trying to access your clipboard, and most especially if it's retaining something that long. I think I'll be very careful as to what I copy to my clipboard. Just mention that.
Well, I mean, we can just delete the thing that you just pasted or you no longer need in the clipboard.
Yeah, but one is not always going to remember to do that. Well, I'm just mentioning that, though, that people are aware. Be careful about what you copy there, because if that thing is going to remain there infinitum, you want to be careful.
Well, yeah.
Excellent. Some more quality commentary debate, I think, between Mariam and Warren. But yes, definitely something to keep in mind if that thing's gonna stick around.